I'm Emily Bark, and this is my series of screen prints for senior project. The series is called the Daily Rites series, and it is a narrative series of screen prints that feature the moments that make surfing more of a practice than just a sport. And I really wanted to highlight the specific moments of surfing rather than just showcase surfing as a general thing, because I really wanted it to be more universal and accessible to a non-surfing audience. And so in each of these pieces, I focus on moments that are really crucial to the experience of surfing themselves, but also can be applied to kind of any practice or discipline that we as like humans do. And so I started my pieces with the creation of a surfboard and kind of anticipating and dreaming about what is to come. And then I move on to um, like the act of pilgrimage and searching and longing in my next few pieces that showcase what it's like to look for something and to kind of spot it and have that anticipation until finally what you've been searching for is achieved. And with that comes bliss and satisfaction and spiritual connection with nature. And finally, just kind of departing from this whole practice and kind of series of events. And the series was born from last summer. I bought an old waterproof camera off of eBay after being really inspired by just the legends of surf photography who would capture these really beautiful moments that really showed surfing in a new way. And I just started photographing my friends surfing and was able to kind of see surfing in this entirely new light that I hadn't seen before, being behind the lens instead of actually, like being on the board. And I really wanted to put these moments into pieces in a way that reflects and kind of honors the old stylistic publication design of like the 60s. And all these old surf magazines like Tracks Magazine and Surfer's Journal would have these really neat covers that were about surfing, but kind of looked like art pieces themselves, really action packed and with these bit mapped and really graphic elements, but also some hand drawn portions. And growing up, my dad always had stacks of these in our living room, and I would tear them out, put them on my wall, and kind of see them as more as just the magazine cover, but also a work of art itself. And I really wanted to recreate and kind of pay tribute to that golden era of surfing in these pieces. And lastly, the process behind this, I kind of already touched on it, but it involved taking photos and then from there, kind of choosing which ones really showed those special moments that kind of show the universality of surfing, and then hand drawing and printing those onto sheets to then be burned into screens and then finally printed into my pieces.
We have a couple questions. The first one, Katie asked, who is the handsome boy in the first print?
That is my brother Jack. He shaped surfboards with my dad, so that is the one who's showcased in that print.
And then we also have, how many are in your edition?
These are each editions of 8. And I also had a few that are not up, but that are kind of one-offs that show like different layers from each piece together.
Amy asked, what did you learn while doing this process?
I learned a lot, actually. I learned that one of the really cool and kind of frustrating parts of photography, of like surf photography specifically, is you can't control what waves they're going to be, and you can't control how the people you're shooting are going to surf. And so these pieces actually came about really organically, whereas I had a vision for them, but when I was actually shooting the photos, they came out a lot differently than I expected, just because of the quality of waves that you get is, you can never expect exactly what you're going to get. And so I learned to be really responsive to kind of the environment around me while creating these pieces, instead of needing everything to be exactly how I planned it, which really allowed me to kind of develop a more organic and free moving art process that I wasn't really used to before doing these.